Hey everybody, this is Dr. Joe Borio, this week's Thought Flash. And I am going to tell you one more time, in 2 weeks, it's a huge event at my office. November 4th and 5th is going to be a Chiropassion Consulting event. 2 days, Friday and Saturday. I always call it a life changer because we're going to have Billy DeMoss there, I'm going to be there, and we're going to talk about principled chiropractic. You're going to be in my office, an office where I've seen over 600 people in a day. It's going to show you how our setup is. We're sponsored by ChiroTouch. So ChiroTouch system is in our office. It was also an office I use travel cards. So if you're not on ChiroTouch yet, I'll show you exactly how we used to do it, kind of the old-fashioned way. You'll have a good idea of our layout. It'll show you all the different wording and epigrams and so forth on the walls. You'll get an idea of flow. I'll share all that with you. And I'm also going to share with you a phenomenal way to practice. Listen, guys, I tell everybody this. One of the reasons we put events on is so that I can introduce myself to you and you can get a feel of whether or not Chiropassion Consulting is right for you. Remember, we always bring in other speakers and we always offer CE credit. So I want you guys to know 6 events a year. We're always going to talk about chiropractic. We're going to talk about principled chiropractic. We're going to bring in people that talk about practice management. We're going to talk about the art of chiropractic, the philosophy of chiropractic, and a hell of a lot of science on chiropractic. Now that being said, today I wanted to share some of that with you. One of the, I think one of the challenges a lot of chiropractors have is they feel like salesmen. In fact, a lot of advertisements that I see with other coaching programs is they'll say, you know, are you sick of trying to sell chiropractic, or are you sick of feeling like a salesman? Well, I don't ever feel like a salesman. I mean, I definitely feel as though I talk to people and educate them in a very passionate and an animated way about chiropractic. But I see too many other doctors out there feeling like salesmen. So I'm going to go back to our man over there. We got BJ over here. We got Dee Palmer up here. I'm going to read a little BJ Palmer to you. And one of the ways that I love that he defined this, and I'm going to share this with you, is that it's a transferring of a conviction by the chiropractor to the patient by means of education. It's something I read a number of years ago. It's something that I really felt truly inside. It's exactly what I do, and I want you as chiropractors to feel that way. That listen, if you sit in math class and you've never learned calculus before, and some teacher comes in and is real excited or not very excited about teaching you calculus, you know, calculus has an enormous amount of value. Learning mathematics in school, even though you may not fully understand the direct, at that moment, the direct time application of learning calculus, it teaches you a way to think. It trains your brain on a way to be deductive and inductive in its reasoning. It teaches your brain a process of problem solving. And it certainly opens up to you a whole different way to look at the world through a mathematical viewpoint. That being said, I don't look at my math teacher as being a salesperson. I look at my math teacher as somebody teaching me or educating me on principles that are 100% clear and true and that can be tested. And that's the way I look at chiropractic. Chiropractic is scientifically valid. It's always right. Chiropractic principle and philosophy is always right. Understanding that the idea that there's an innate, a force beyond our full understanding that combines itself in the triune of matter and energy and force, and you combine all these, or intelligence, I'm sorry, and you combine all these together, that's what universal is, and innate is an expression of that. So to understand that principle is clear as 2 + 2 is 4. 2 + 2 is 4 equals 4 is 100% clear. It's 100% clarity in your mind. And your math teacher is transferring to you a conviction, a principle, a basic level of standards so that you can understand how to apply this principle of mathematics. You as a chiropractor are really transferring a conviction, a philosophy, educating the members of your practice towards something they had no idea existed. They don't understand that there's a force, an intelligence that's outside the body, and there's a force and intelligence within the body that allows their body to heal, and that intelligence is infinite. It's always been there. and that it is your job to work in harmony as a steward with that intelligence. So remember, you're not a salesman. What you are is you're a chiropractor. Be proud of that. And you're transferring a conviction by the chiropractor to the patient by means of an education. It implies a definite effort in educating the patient to adopt the chiropractor's point of view of the value of chiropractic care. It aims to create in the patient's mind, and how many times have you heard me say this, a sense of value equal to or greater than the money price of the service for sale. The essence of salesmanship is the transferring of an idea or a conviction from his or her own mind to the mind of a patient or prospective patient, and having that person adopt it as his or her own. This conviction in the other person would cause them to tell others, and thus chiropractic would grow. One of the reasons we don't grow is because the chiropractors don't educate. They don't transfer their conviction in a passionate way. And as a result, the individual walks out and gets exactly what they thought that they were going to get. Hey, I'm going to walk in, I'm going to get cracked 3 times, my backache's going to go away, and guess what? I'll come back next time I hurt. Hey, did you go to chiropractor? Yeah, I went 5 times, 3 times, and my backache went away. You ought to give this guy a call or this lady a call. That's what's being transferred. That's the story that's being told. Now, in order for us to be leaders in this profession, we have to raise that standard. Like I've said for the last few weeks, our chiropractic brethren, our brothers and sisters didn't go to jail or die in jail to crack somebody's back to make their back go away. They went for the idea of universal and innate intelligence. They went for the idea that they have the right, that you have the right to practice a form of healing. You have a right to practice a form of health care that is 100% correct. Others are trying to stop you. They're trying to remove your right to exist. We will never grow. I'm not saying chiropractic will go away, but we'll never grow. We'll never take over healthcare until we understand that you're not selling people anything. You're transferring a conviction to people. You're transferring a conviction. A couple other things I just want to bring to your attention. Ideas and Discoveries, ID. Great book, a great magazine. And this week they had the Dark Forces of Motivation. And what I really liked about this article is they were talking about how the brain works. And really what they were talking about is the transference of innate through the body and the dark forces of motivation. And they talk about, the nerve cells and the brain and where passion and excitement and motivation comes through. And they compare twins, and then they go through Navy SEALs, and they use different examples. And then you talk about how you can increase the brain activity and brain function and so forth. But what's so great about that is, what's so wonderful about that article is it really talks about the recognition of the brain. And they talk about they can't even explain where thought comes from, where the idea actually comes from. It's incredible. And those are those mental signals that D.D. Palmer talked about 100 years ago. Last one is Discover Magazine. Love these magazines, if I see something on there that's important. But what I thought on here, again, is dark matter. And they talk about that the 85% of the universe is missing. The world's top physics detectives are teaming up to find it. And just a great article talking about what is dark matter. And why I think that's important for us to read that is that, remember, D.D. Palmer tried to answer health or the lack of the expression of innate through the eyes of a quantum physicist, through the eyes of quantum mechanics, and breaking it down to energy and intelligence and matter, and developing the understanding of a triune. Universal intelligence didn't exist. That terminology never existed. If you Google innate intelligence, not innate, the word innate, but innate intelligence, that's a term coined by D.D. Palmer. And that's something to be proud of. There's an inborn intelligence. And you're finding now that people maybe don't use the word innate intelligence, but they use the word innate to describe that term, innate intelligence, that there's an innate, an inborn what? Intelligence, an already knowing, a presence of knowing, a presence of infinite intelligence, infinite knowing within the body. And your job is to ensure that innate is fully expressed within the body. But in order to do that, you have to have an appreciation that it exists, how important it is, that your job isn't to make a change to the body necessarily, but your job is to allow the body to function as it was intended, as it was to fully express itself. And you have to get really comfortable with the idea that it's okay that you're not a cardiologist. You know, people are going to come to you with ailments and problems that maybe don't go away with the adjustment in their time frame. You know, I don't know, and in reality, I don't care. As long as there's no other system in the body that is going to be damaged by the adjustment, my job is to make sure innate is fully expressed in the body. That's really what chiropractic is. And anything else is allopathic. And it doesn't make you a bad person, and it doesn't make you a bad doctor. It just makes it not chiropractic. And I think if we're to grow as a profession, we have to understand that we're transferring a conviction of principles, and that transference of conviction, those principles, the 33 principles, are something to be proud of. Guys, I can't wait to talk to you more about this and so many other great topics, and to really sit down and meet you and teach you what principled chiropractic care is and how great it is to run an office successful, and to teach you that you too can run an office very, very successfully with low overhead, have a lot of fun with the practice members, have them love you, you love them, have a wonderful, warm office of healing. And I'd love to share that with you on November 4th and 5th at my office in Syracuse, New York. Chiropassion life-changing event. I hope you guys give us a call. Check out the website right down here in the bottom. Make sure you give us a call. Call Mary Ross. She'll be more than happy to set you up. Chiro Touch is putting on, we're going to put on a breakfast and a lunch and so forth. It's going to be great. I hope to see you guys there. Remember, may your innate always flow with 100% expression from above down, guys. See you in Syracuse.
My best friend gave me the best advice. He said each day's a gift and not a given right. Leave no stone